Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second edition of LM's Investopedia, our regular program on the new events and certain new developments impacting the overall investor community. Last time we did a program on ESG, that is environment, social, and governance, and we've been very thrilled with the response which we have got to the first edition of LM's Investopedia. And today also we have come up with a new topic, the recently announced national logistics policy. And a lot of queries in the market participants about the national logistics policy and what is going to be the implication of this policy overall for the overall economy, from the market perspective, etc. So we just thought we'll just cover up the national logistics policy. First of all, we start off with the term logistics. The word logistics is used very interchangeably. It's used very common parlance also. Even in our day-to-day lives, we talk about that while completing certain tasks, we say that there are certain logistical issues. There are some problems which are hampering the completion of a particular task, etc. So this word logistics is used at a micro level, it is used at the macro level also, and from a macro perspective it has huge implications, especially from an economic point of view. Now we have been living in a very volatile world. We've been seeing of late what we call the VUCA world, which is the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, and all these things have increased, especially so after the COVID scenario. We are seeing that there is a lot of focus on efficiency of transactions. During the COVID period, we were quite used to the term that there is congestion at the ports, there are huge logistical issues due to which the movement of food, movement of materials, the movement of people has been restricted. So why? Because all the ports were congested, the airports were congested, the schedules were all disrupted, and huge number of problems which happened due to the logistical nightmares, what we call as the logistical nightmares. Now, why this is very important from the Indian perspective is very important. That is going to be our focus area today. The first thing is that India aspires to be a $5 trillion economy in the next few years. So we want to grow at a scorching pace. We are competing against the entire world. The entire world is facing severe problems like shortage of food, shortage of materials, there is shortage of energy. Whereas in the case of India is one of the largest producer of food grains in the world. But the biggest problem is with India, the problem is not about the agricultural produce, or it is not about the food production, but it is how this food is going to reach eventually its entire population. That is the biggest nightmare for India. So it is, according to certain estimates, India wastes about 16% of its agricultural produce is lost due to spoilage, rotting.
Wow.
So we do not have proper storage infrastructure for all these grains, food grains production, what we are doing. A lot of this wastage is in fruits and vegetables, which is very important from a food security perspective also. It impacts the prices of fruits and vegetables. It impacts the agricultural prices also. And overall, it breeds inefficiency within the economy. Now let's think about a situation where we have cereals, pulses, oil seeds. We are losing approximately 10% of the production is completely lost due to spoilage, due to rotting, because we do not have proper infrastructure to store these food grains. So storage, grading, transportation, all these are very important elements of the system. This is one aspect. The second aspect is movement of goods from one place to another place. Globally, we have seen that railways play a very important role in transporting goods from one place to another. according to global statistics, 60% of the movement of goods in advanced countries takes place by railways, whereas in India it is a dismal 25% still. So we have to ramp up our railways in order to achieve that. Roads, there is too much heavy dependence on roads to push the movement of goods from one place to another place. So this again, road transport is an expensive mode of transport. We have waterways which have still not been exploited only by India. So there is a dire need to address this issue immediately and start working on waterways as well. Another important factor is the movement of goods and the cumbersome procedures in the movement of goods from one place to another place. Now, luckily, because of the introduction of GST, we have few procedures. There is less of paperwork. Otherwise, there used to be long queues at the toll nakas. There used to be long inspection queues, and a lot of valuable time would get wasted because of all these Inspector Raj and all these draconian policies which were impacted. So the government has taken into account all these factors. There are huge infrastructure deficit which we have in our economy. We need to really get our roads, bridges, ports, airports, railways really moving very, very fast. Even the aviation needs to start moving very, very fast. The fact of the matter is that today railways is using 80% of its freight capacity for transporting just coal and iron ore. Now this can be used for doing many other things. A case in point is like the horticulture. In the case of horticulture, 97% of the produce gets transported only by road. Now this can be easily diverted towards railways. So a lot of such fact points are there which need to be addressed, and keeping this into account, the government of India has recently announced the National Logistics Policy. And with me today is Bhavin Shah, so senior management personnel at Latin Manhalal, and Bhavin will also be throwing some light on the National Logistics Policy. So Bhavin, your views on the logistics policy, and welcome to the show.
Yes, yeah. Sure. Thank you. Hi everybody. We are back almost at the end of the another month now with our another series 2 of the LM's Investopedia. Thanks Nirav. Throughout the month we try to pick up and highlight certain interesting facts as the economy or what could be of our interest, and we found this interesting. Just thought to share it quickly. So as rightly spotted, our day-to-day problems, logistical commuting problems, what we face day by day in terms of railways, roadways, etc., what Nirav just mentioned. So interestingly, but also some interesting facts that I came across observing these, that our logistic cost of India as a country is 14% to GDP versus globally, if you go to see, it's only about 8% of the GDP. So there is a lot of wastage in terms of we're losing almost 6% of the cost just by probably not addressing the important areas like what just Nirav mentioned in his talks, addressing the logistical issues like commuting, the different modes of transport that we are using as of today. So just to take an example, like Nirav mentioned, most of the logistical mode of transport being used is today by road. But if you go to see railways, for example, it is very interesting to see that today the tracks, you mean the rail tracks, what are being used for any kind of commuting, may it be a passenger commute or a logistical or a goods transportation. These are the common tracks which are used, and there is no dedicated or separate tax for the goods movement across the country, which itself says that obviously if there are passenger commuting by the rails and there is a good transport, the priority is given to the passengers. Hence this automatically gets the logistical, the goods train in queue, and hence there is a lot of wastage of time and cost and delays in the delivery of the goods from one place to another wherever it's traveling. So these kind of issues, this is a very micro observation and micro thing, that because there are no separate tracks, the commuting and the delivery of the logistics or the goods is basically getting delayed, just because there is no proper segregated infrastructure for that. But over the years, we would all of us know that there has been since a lot of years, for the railway logistics, there is a policy called dedicated freight corridor. So that has been happening, and it is under the consideration, and we have observed recently that there has been a good progress over that dedicated freight corridor policy, because of, I'm sure over the years it has taken a lot of time, but there also would be a lot of planning and undergoing a lot of hurdles which the government would be facing, like you mentioned, and looks like that a lot of hurdles has been overcome, and we are nearing to the execution stage of this policy. So just to give you an example, like I said, during railways, so for example, if there are no dedicated tracks and stuff, to travel from Mumbai to Delhi, let's take an example, to travel from Mumbai to Delhi is approximately 1400 to 1500 kilometers, which takes about 3 days to reach from Mumbai to Delhi
for goods train.
For the goods train, right? Okay. And which is approximately 25 kilometers per hour.
Okay, that's right? A pretty dismal speed.
Pretty dismal speed,
yes.
And that is just because that there are no dedicated tracks for it. The passenger and goods trains are running on the same tracks. Now with coming or introduction of this dedicated freight corridor policy, there will be dedicated tracks. So with this, there are 3 things what we are looking at improvising the efficiency. Number 1, the time taken from Mumbai to Delhi, similar example I'll be taking, of 1500 approximately kilometers, taking time of 25 kilometers per hour speed, which will now go up to almost 70 kilometers per hour, just because there is a dedicated freight corridor. Also, along with this, there will be, from a single train, it will be a double-decker train. So the storage right now, a train carrying say 4,000 tons will go up to 10,000 tons.
Double stack containers.
Double stack containers, basically, in a simple language, like a double decker, like what we say.
Yes.
Right. Now with this, the improvisation of efficiency, the productivity, the time taken otherwise to deliver the goods, and the efficiency, overall it becomes a very win-win thing, and it is definitely improvising and boosting the economic in this. Now this is a very small example. Now similarly, if you go to see that a lot of these different modes like airways and seaways, if such small changes or developments taking place, can shoot up the efficiency, it can give boost to the economy, the revenue for the government, and there are multilateral positive effects and benefits to the economy. I was just traveling from Mumbai to Ahmedabad the other day, and I've just happened to speak to one of the staff of the train, just to share this small example how it is making a difference. I was just chatting with it and said that during the lockdown pandemic period, you all must have faced a lot of tough times because no commuting and all that. So the person happened to mention that, sir, I've been working in this the Indian Railways for past 28 years, right? And we have seen this abnormal period of pandemic, but there was an amazing logistical freight movements are happening. So this itself says that if there is a less traffic of passenger commuting, or if there are different tracks dedicated, you have parallel movements of for both passenger and the goods transportation. This can increase a lot of multifold impact.
Yes.
Like Nirav mentioned, India aspires to enter the $5 trillion economy. It is very important that such infra developments takes place. We can definitely be there, because logistic is the heart of any economy. It is one small thing getting delivered from one place to other place in the best efficient cost effective way. I think it addresses a lot of issues, lot of problems, saves a lot of cost, increases the revenue for the government, and hence gives a booster to the economy. So I think this is a very vast topic. We can go a lot and long on this, but I think to share an insight or discuss your views, we are always available. And ultimately, as being the investors and broking fraternity, how do we capitalize or take the opportunity with these kind of developments with the logistical space? There is a lot of infra development needed for with cold storages and warehouses, etc. Like Nirav mentioned, there is so much of spoilage for the foods, fruits and vegetables. Now with the increasing kind of a better infrastructure with cold storages and warehouses, this also can lead to better this thing and food processing unit, and it opens up a lot of opportunities for other areas. To make it short, I'll now hand it over again Nirav. Nirav, you can just highlight how we can capitalize this opportunity coming up, and which is win-win and beneficial for all of us. Thanks, Nirav.
Yeah, thank you, Bhavin. So, as rightly pointed out by Bhavin, that if the logistic costs, that is the crux, that if it is cut down from 14% of GDP to 8% of GDP, a lot of wastages will be out of the system, a lot of efficiency will come into the system, and it will be a win-win for the common man, it will be a win-win for the government. So government is working in this direction. The dedicated freight corridor is just one example of this. The ports are being modernized. There are a lot of inland container depots which are coming up. There are cold storages which are coming up in the country. So a lot of work is being done. But having said that, this is just the tip of the iceberg. A lot more needs to be done. That is one part. Secondly, of course, being from the stock market, a lot of our viewers would be interested in understanding where the opportunity lies, where we can benefit out of all these opportunities. One is because of all these developments which are happening in railways, there is a huge capex which is going to happen in railways over the next 1 decade, the way we look at it. So all the companies which are linked to the railway ecosystem, listed companies like IRCTC, the IRCTC, Rail Vikas Nigam Limited, Railtel, Indian Railway Finance Corporation, or your rights, all these companies are going to benefit in a big way out of the opportunities which are arising. Apart from this, the bearing related companies like the SKF Bearing, FAG Bearing, Timken, we have EPC companies like KEC International, we have companies like HBL Power Systems. All these companies are going to benefit in a big way because of the boost. Apart from this, MNC companies like Siemens, ABB will also benefit because of the bullet train project. A big beneficiary is likely to be L&T, Larsen and Toubro. We have companies like Concor, Container Corporation, Dredging Corporation, which are also going to benefit because of the huge opportunities which are there in the logistics space. Finally, we also have some smaller companies like Mahindra Logistics, or we have Snowman Logistics, etc., All Cargo Logistics, which are going to benefit on account of the thrust on logistics. This topic, as rightly pointed out by Bhavin, we cannot do justice to this topic in a time frame of 15-20 minutes, because it is very vast in terms of its magnitude. But we are sure that with this small session, definitely has enlightened the viewers. Do write back to us with your feedback on this, and we will be reverting back to you with another new topic in the coming month. Thank you everyone for a very patient hearing. Thank you, Bhavin.
Thank you very much.